Ladies and gentlemen, my name is The Reckonist and welcome to Football Manager 16 Beta. This will be a video explaining what I think of the game and also what I did to get my, well, you'll see I had a very successful year with Manchester United straight away. Anyway, let's get on to it. First of all, this is me, what I did. This is me, apparently. For the sake of arguments, I've made myself an international footballer with a Continental Pro license. I have a National B license in real life. So, yeah, I understood what all of that meant. And basically, I added and subtracted from the stats to become this kind of cerebral defensive coach. I only did that because I noticed on an earlier game that Manchester United had terrible defensive coaches, so that's the reason I did that, just for the experiment. I'm not going to manage anyone else but Man United, so my adaptability is 1, and I just buffed it up like this. So this seemed to work for me, it might work differently for you. This is May 29th of the first season, so I've just finished as Champions of England, Champions of Europe, and League Cup winners, and I lost the FA Cup in the early rounds to Middlesbrough, just like in real life. It happened a few days ago. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for consistency there. Right, yes, so these are the computer's measurements, I guess, on these particular subjects. Loyalty to players low. I've been really loyal to my players. Tactical consistency, yes, you want that. Media handling is good. Media handling and managing finances, very important. My reputation's gone up as well. My reputation is listed as 2, as very good, because I've not been in charge for a year yet, I don't think. Preferred formation, as in real life, is 4-4-2. I'm not a 4-4-2 fanatic. I know a lot of people are. But just for this, I wanted to see if Manchester United could be successful as a 4-4-2 team, and we were. So yeah, basically with a interchanging 4-4-2, so I'd switch the marking style and the pressing style and everything else depending on who I was playing. I have a 68% win percentage, goals for 141, goals against 50, games played 61, games won 42, games drawn 8 and lost 11. So yeah, it's very good, first season especially. Door is always open to his players. I'm not sure. That's got some relevance to man management, motivation, and level of discipline. If you have a very high discipline level, players won't come to you with their problems. So if you have a very low, they'll come to you with everything. So I kind of went one way over just to see how that would work. So I left it at 11 deliberately, and seems to have worked out. I had hardly anyone come to me with complaints. Only a couple. I'll get onto who of those are in a minute. People who hate me. Steve Evans, I've no idea who that is. Manuel Pellegrini, who's just been sacked. Tony Pulis, who's sacked. Arsene Wenger, who is about to be sacked. I think he's 3-1 on. And Jurgen Klopp, because of Liverpool. Mark Hughes, Roberto Martinez. Paco Ayesteren. He was a coach, wasn't he? Yeah, okay. Anyway, Gary Monk. Who cares? So yeah, I have won something else. Oh yeah, I've already told you what I've won. So that's me. And okay, my first day, what I did, like any self-respecting Manchester United manager and football manager, the first thing I did when I got into my job was go and hire Paul Scholes. So yeah, I got Scholes in. He's done his Continental Pro license this year. He's pretty good. He's got strange setup, really, attacking and technical. He's okay. I also got Gary Neville because you have a look, and I just watched the documentary on United and Co. the other day, and so the Salford City Reds thing on the iPlayer. It's on there right now if you want to watch that. It's very good. And yeah, I signed. What I do, which makes me very. I think this is a key to success in your first season, is not change much. I didn't get rid of a single coach until literally about 10 minutes ago. I got rid of one of the Louis van Gaal's mates, but I've kept one on because he's pretty useful as well. If you, on your first day, if you go in and you just get rid of all of the coaches, it's going to be a nightmare for a long time. No one will be able to, your staff won't perform very well, your training sessions won't perform very well. It takes a long time for everyone to get up to speed, and I didn't want to disturb that. So, what I did do is get rid of the generated head of youth department, which was just a random character. It wasn't very good, and I went for the old Phil Cannon, who is, look, he's ridiculous. What the hell? That is an incredible stat set. Head of youth development, and I also signed, I think I signed this guy. Yeah, looks like I did. So first point to mention is do not change too much in your first season. I've added a lot. Tim Sherwood, who's just been sacked as Aston Villa manager, is available as a coach for Manchester United when you start. He's pretty good. I just thought I'd buy him. I also got Dave Parnaby as well, who's the former Middlesbrough guy. Stuart Parnaby's dad, very good, consistent. Pretty much every iteration of Football Manager, it's the same names I end up getting, and the stats are always the same as well. I've improved my coaching by the acquisitions I made. I'm now pretty much the best in the league at everything: defending best, attacking best, fitness best, mental best, technique best, tactical best, man management best. So yeah, look, that's me, 20. Right, so that's the staff. Let's get on to the interesting bit, and we talk about the squad. Now, Manchester United start off with 60 million in the transfer kitty, and I used that pretty much straight away to buy Kurt Zouma. I ended up getting him from Chelsea for 37.5 million, because I wasn't expecting Chris Smalling, Phil Jones and Rojo to be good enough, and it turns out they bloody were. Let's just have a look at the formation here as well. Let's go to the tactics first. Okay, so this is what I did for most of the season. I basically played 4-4-2 like this, and occasionally switching things. Like I have Mata as a wide playmaker, so sometimes Mata wasn't playing very well or he was tired, which is, I played him so much he did get tired. I'd change that to a winger and have Valencia, somebody run down. And Depay, I used to play there. I made sure his training was adequate. I made him focus on being a left winger or left midfielder, playing a winger, rather than just playing up here where he normally would as an inside forward. I trained him here as a winger and attacked, left pretty much everything up here. Cover and stopper, I went for the old Bruce Pallister combination, so stopper ended up being Smalling, cover was Rojo for most of it, and then occasionally Phil Jones popped in there or there, whichever. Now Zouma obviously worked occasionally as well, but he was very good as an alternative right back for Darmian, who is incredible. Darmian and Luke Shaw, incredible in this particular game. I'll show you some stats in a bit. Central defensive midfielder, central midfielder defend, Morgan Schneiderlin or Bastian Schweinsteiger. Michael Carrick did not have the best of times with me, so there it was either Schweinsteiger or Schneiderlin, and here it often or not was Ander Herrera or Juan Mata, who I began to cross-train as centre midfielder, and also Wayne Rooney did the same thing as well. But yeah, so I played Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin there. Mata, Herrera or Rooney here, Memphis Depay or Ashley Young here, and Juan Mata or Valencia here. Pretty much self-explanatory. Now up here is a little different. Didn't usually play it as actually a complete forward. I must have done that in the final just had. Right, yeah, so what I did is Wayne Rooney's a defensive forward. Now, if the opposite team was playing with an anchorman or a defensive midfielder, 1 or 2, I'd have him as a defensive forward on support. But if they played like a 4-4-2 and there was nobody in their position here, I'd just have him as a deep line forward and support. So yeah, if they had an anchorman, he would harass them like mad. He'd just run after them all day, which is what he does in real life. So that's the trick with Rooney. I managed to get 30 goals out of him doing that. And this guy up here, Antony Marcial, advanced forward / poacher / complete forward, scored just as many as Rooney. I wasn't expecting Marcial to actually have decent... well, I thought he'd had great potential like they usually do. But yeah, he turned out to be pretty good. So let's have a look back here. You notice Victor Valdez, I ended up as my replacement keeper, my sub-keeper, because I'm not Louis van Gaal. He's okay to play. So yeah, Victor Valdez did okay, but as he's getting older, his stats are dropping. I might let him go this year in the close season. David De Gea, improving all the time. He's just going to get better and better and better. Average rating for the year, 7.18. Plenty of... yeah, he was very good. Really, he was very good. Matt, as I mentioned before, Darmian just got injured like the day before the Champions League final. Average rating 7.61 over 45 games with 5 man of the matches and 7 assists in this formation. Brilliant. We'll go for the other left back as well, Luke Shaw. Look at that. Improving, improving, improving. I had no idea Luke Shaw was 6'1". I had no idea he was that big, because he shouldn't be that quick and that big. So now I have a newfound respect for whenever I used to see him bomb down the wing. Best of luck getting over your injury, Luke. Okay. Centre half, Phil Jones starts off the game as he does in real life with a blood clot. So it's a couple of months before after the season starts before you start to see him play well. Yeah, he's getting very, very much better. Chelsea tried to buy him in the January transfer window, told him to do one because 7.26 is too good. And he's too young, and he's getting on well with Smalling as well. So yeah, I'm a bit upset his bravery isn't 20, because he is ridiculous. If you've ever watched Phil Jones very closely, he no fear of injury, which is probably why he's injured a lot of the time. Chris Smalling, as in real life, has improved leaps and bounds this year. Average rating of 7.42 over 37 games, 2 goals and 2 assists as well. Very good. Marcus Rojo, who's been solid as well, 7.22 over the year of 36 appearances. Yeah, I used him occasionally as left back. Daley Blind got injured very early on for a long time as well, so he kind of played a lot more. So yeah, 36. Very good all-round defender. There's not a weakness, and there's not a particular strength besides his aggression and bravery. But yeah, good tackler as well. Okay. So that's pretty much how the defence went. Kurt Zouma starts off with PPM of dives into tackles and gets forward whenever possible. I retrained him off dives into every tackle, because if you dive into every tackle, you better risk it all. But because he's so fast, acceleration 18 and pace 14, which is exactly what I wanted for him. I wanted a covering centre defender. He doesn't need to dive in. He can catch up, so as long as his positioning's okay, which is okay, he's quick enough to recover, so he doesn't need to dive in. So that was my logic behind that. It seemed to work out. And that's the defenders for the most part. Let's talk about right wing now. As I said before, right wing, Juan Mata. Player of the year in the Premier League. 7.42 average rating over 41 appearances with 16 assists and 14 goals. Yeah, he did well. He did well for me. As I say, I usually play him here, wide right, as a wide playmaker. But I have retrained him to midfielder. Occasionally he's gone there. His strengths obviously are attacking midfielder right, attacking midfielder left, and attacking midfielder centre. But yeah, I also signed him on a new contract, so he'll be here until he's like mid-30s, I think. He's been a very, very good player again. But as I say, 16 assists, player of the year. And okay, I also have Antonio Valencia, who I'm getting more of an appreciation of Antonio Valencia on this, because he is a winger, but he's not a technical winger. He is basically a battering ram. So if ever you've got a fullback which has low bravery or anything like that, you just throw Antonio Valencia on him and keeps him honest, put it that way. Vision 7, that's a bit weird. Yeah, long shots, okay. Yeah, average rating 7.19 over 32 appearances. Majority of them were on the right wing, right midfield, and occasionally he played defender right. Very rarely though. Okay, now this is where it gets a little interesting. Daley Blind, he was injured for ages. Not quite sure what he had, but what was it? bruised thigh, no, groin strain, 4 months with a broken foot. So yeah, he went out very early on and came back just after Christmas, but by then I already had a solid team in place and he was used very sparingly. So he's not had a good season. 6.98 average rating over 13 starts, I think that said. Okay. Now, Morgan Schneiderlin. Yeah, he didn't do particularly well. I played him centre midfielder, defender usually, or ball winning midfielder, depending on if we were defending or not. But he didn't play very well. His stats are dropping. Very curious. He didn't have the best of seasons, but you get 2 seasons to impress. Now, my favourite player in the whole world right now, Bastian Schweinsteiger. Yes, I love saying his name. Yeah, I play him here, centre, either deep line playmaker on the left hand side or defensive, or centre midfielder defence. He's just a great player, but he has a skill. He has one particular skill which is very useful. It's PPM, and it is stops play. That is a weird one to have when you're playing in the English Premier League. That is a rare one. You won't get many people with the ability to put the foot on the ball and slow the pace down. So when I was winning games, I made sure he was on ball playing. I'm going to start again there. Made sure he was deep line playmaker, and I'd slow the pace right down, and he'd do that. So every time that he played really well. But he didn't have the best season other than that. He scored a cracker of a goal. It's uploaded to YouTube, actually. I tell you what, I'll put a link to it here. Yes, so you can have a quick look at that. There's actually a playlist as well for my highlights of this season, goal-wise, including the goal of the Manchester United's goal of the season, as voted for by the players, by Ander Pereira, who came on as the Champions League. Anyway, enough of that. Schweinsteiger plays in the middle very well. Carrick didn't play very well at all. 6.94. He played 20 times, but he's dropping and dropping and dropping. Just after I won the Champions League now, I've just offered him to clubs, and AC Milan have bid for him, so I'll probably say goodbye to him. Ashley Young, bit part player really. He played 23 times, played well each time, 7.28. So, yeah, on the left or occasionally on the right if needs be. The reason why he didn't play very many times was because of this guy, Memphis Depay, or Memphis. Now, he's not had the best of times this year at Old Trafford already, but he's like super nanny. So he runs, cuts inside and smacks it. But he does it better than Nani ever did. So yeah, played 49, scored 25. As a left midfielder, he scored 25 goals. 17 assists, 9 man of the matches, 206 dribble attempts, that's 4 a game, and 7.54%. He was Young Player of the Year, and yeah, I just had him play. I had his training go to midfielder left, wasn't it? Yeah, position role left winger. So I moved him to left winger. He's accomplished. He needs to play a few more times there before he's naturalised, which is a good mechanic. I think that's new. But yeah, he's been really good. Memphis Depay, absolutely. Midfielder left. Okay. Now, Ander Herrera, I mentioned before, didn't get called up to the Spain tournament squad because I don't think he played enough. He played 30 times and he did well, but he didn't do well enough to get into Spain, and that really affected his mood. His mood went down to, like, from superb, where it usually is. It goes to he went below average. He had a quick word with him and said, "You've been playing really well." And he goes, "Thanks, Rojo, appreciate it." Superb. Comes on the next game, scores 2 goals, all of that. Yeah, great all-round midfielder. I did not realise he was 6 foot either. I thought he was a small 5'8" Paul Scholes size. He's not. First touch 18. Wonderful. Anyway, good play under Herrera. Big fan of his. So that was the centre midfielder. Fellaini, and I did something funny with Fellaini. You saw that I did Rooney as a defensive forward occasionally. Now, this time, what I did with Fellaini was, well, I don't have any other tall strikers really, so I trained him as a striker, as Louis van Gaal said he was going to do this year, but hasn't really played him. So yeah, I've got him as a target man, basically, and he's a good target man, really. The times he's come on, he's disrupted, and when I've been needing a goal, he's managed it. He's managed to at least be on the pitch when it happens, so that's a positive thing. So yeah, 6.89. He's played 15 times, 15 starts, 5 goals. So 15, 1 in 3, and he's played up front for the majority of those things. That's not bad. So yeah, word of advice: train into a striker and have him back up Rooney, but as a target man, not as a defensive forward. Now here's the fun bit. Oh, my second signing, Charlie Austin. Now he's still playing for QPR, I think, and I signed him for, where are we? 13.75 million, which I think's a bit generous, but he's been decent, to be honest. I've hardly played him. He's played 9 times, 11 times as sub. He scored 4 and had 5 assists, so his average rating is 6.89. Plus, he's a bit of a baby. He doesn't like to be left out of the club, and he's always got something on his mind. I always have to talk to him. I've talked to him more than I have anyone else. But I really like his stats because he's a smart forward. Work rate, off the ball, determination, composure, anticipation. His heading's good, just something United don't really have. He's okay to jump. He's 6'2". That was basically the reason I signed him. He's too expensive really for me to recommend as a first team player for Man United at least. So yeah, I used what was left of my 60 million to get him, and just used it. Just a throwaway signing. Okay. Oh, sorry, just go back. Ander Pereira, goal of the season, as voted for by Man United players. It should have told me. I'll leave a link to that here. It's a belter in the Champions League against Zenit. He came on as a sub and just smashed one in completely against the run of play, if I remember rightly as well. He just appeared and went bang, goal. Yeah, so I'll leave that there. Now, have I covered everyone before I get onto there? Yeah. Antony Marcial. Well, he's improved greatly. Finishing and first touch were both 15 when the game started. A lot of these, yeah, it's all improved. His PPMs are really good. He gets into opposition areas, so if you play him on the wings, he will always get forward. Moves into channels, his movement is good. Places shots, his composure is okay, his finishing is good, so he can do that pretty well. And it matches up with his personality of the Iceman type thing. He also plays 1-2s, which we've seen a little bit of in real life. I hope to see a lot more of that kind of link-up play, but he's kind of been off on the wing last few games. Yeah, James Wilson was injured. I sent him out on loan and he scored a few times somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Cardiff, played 15, scored 4. Yeah, he's played 1 for me this year. But yeah, he's still very much just a poacher, which I don't really have much use for. I'm going to give him another year, and then if not, I'll sell him. So that, yeah, so that's Manchester United, the squad. My tactics varied, but it was mainly based on a 4-4-2 in this formation with attacking mentality and these PPMs, which are play at a really high tempo. Don't play wide. Everyone's going to be going 4-4-2, oh, you got to play really wide. You don't play wide with 4-4-2. The widest you should ever really get is balanced, because there's only 4 of you, not like 5 like in a Barcelona formation. There's not 5 people to cover that space, there's 4. Ordinarily, if I was playing as a poorer team, I'd have fairly narrow, but yeah, balanced worked. Balanced. If they go down to 10 men, the other team, absolutely push it wide. Closing down, sometimes don't pressurise too much and don't pressurise not enough. So occasionally Ryan Giggs, my assistant, who's a pretty poor assistant by the way, would say we need to stop closing down so much, or we need to close down more, whichever. If you leave it as balanced, you can swap that actively during the game, which is the best bit. I really like this new layout for team instructions. I don't know if it was here for FM15, but it definitely wasn't here on 14, and I love that. I love this whole layout where I can see everything easier, I should say. Closing down. Yeah, closing down done. Prevent goalkeeper distribution works against European teams who have really small players. Forcing the goalkeepers to smack it long really helps you get the ball back. Use tighter marking. That's very rarely going to be a thing. because you end up fouling too much anyway. Get stuck in, stay on your feet. Now, get stuck in usually works against, English teams and things like that. But sometimes you need to keep your shape, and that means stay on your feet. So if you ever are more disciplined, usually stay on your feet works with it as well, in the 4-4-2 at least. And I left stick and roam from positions. That's not something I ever felt I needed to do. But as always, it's Man United. You run at the defence. You run at that defence as much as you can. Passing directness, usually this would end up being more direct. However, I think I've been playing weaker teams recently. They're towards the back end of the season, so I'm moving it on to mixed. Again, this is interchangeable. If you want to play really fast Man United way, you play direct. If you want to play more European United, like in 1999, when occasionally you do 40 passes and score, that's how it worked. So if you're playing against European sides, or basically want to control the game, shorter passing, more disciplined. If you want to score quickly, more direct. That's more true to the Man United way. It's forward, always going forward. Now, excuse me. Now, distribution, play out defence as usual. If I was counter-attacking, it would be a clear ball to flanks. And also for counter-attacking, you drop deeper and you pass into space and you put your fastest players on the park. As for the attacking bit, I usually put whip crosses in because, as I said before, United don't have much of an aerial threat unless it's Fellaini. So I have whip crosses in, making defenders score own goals, which worked perfectly against Chelsea in the Champions League. They scored 2 own goals in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final because of whipped crosses, basically. There wasn't high or floaty crosses at all. Just whip them in, make the defenders do the work for you half the time. Look for overlap. Seems to vary depending on what kind of team you're playing. I actually paid attention to backroom advice when it came to this, because before you go into a game, go into staff and go on backroom advice. There'll be a tactical suggestions. Most of them were okay. There weren't things I'd agree with most of the time, but look for overlap seemed to be one that seemed to hit. This seemed to be more accurate, because the teams where I was playing and they told me to look for overlap, it was really effective in that game. So pay attention to that side of it as well, the backroom advice. Early crosses, obviously, for Fellaini, if Fellaini's on. Work ball into the box if you're playing with short passing, and retain possession and work ball into the box. And shoot on sight if you're counter-attacking. Pretty simple, really. Once you get all those things in your head and you'll see the results on the pitch, you'll remember them instantly. Alternatively, I did have my 4-5-1 Scholes can't tackle. This was the formation I made for FM16, which is still like the top rated one on Steam Workshop. There's no difference whatsoever. I just basically copy and pasted it. And also this formation here, this 4-2-3-1, was my attempt at the Louis van Gaal, the Louis van Gaal Man United vision. It wasn't working, so I went to 4-4-2 and kept it there after that, after pre-season. So yeah, that's the Manchester United, my first season. I'll have a look at some results. Where are we? Schedule. Okay. Let's have a quick look at how I did towards the end of the season. It got a bit silly when I faced Real Madrid in the Champions League. I won at Old Trafford 3-0. They had no Ronaldo, he was injured. And then in the game, Jay Rodriguez and Modric were injured. And then in the replay, I beat them 2-1 with one of their players getting sent off. This is a pretty big week. This was in February. Real Madrid and Manchester City, once in the Capital One Cup final, I won 3-2. And then I beat them away 2-0, which knocked them pretty much out of contention for the Premier League. A couple of weeks after that, they got Pellegrini was sacked. So yes, good. Okay. And yeah, I thought I'd lost it here when I drew. Pretty much it was Spurs chasing me at the end, and I dropped points at Watford, and they overtook me by 2 points, and I still had a game in hand. And where's the actual league? Hang on, show you what happened. There we go. So yeah, this happened on the last day. Spurs had Chelsea away and Chelsea won. If Chelsea hadn't have won, they wouldn't have been in the Champions League. So Chelsea won, we're in the Champions League, knocked Spurs off the top. I won my remaining game and won the championship by 1 point on my first attempt. So I was really happy with that. I wasn't expecting to win the Premier League because, does it show my progress? Yeah, look, this is when I was dithering around looking for the right formation, and then around there, I went 4-4-2, and I went ba. Yep, balanced out well. Player stats, let's have a look. Oh, team overview. Let's have a look. Most goals, Man United 86. Least conceded 29. So I had the best defence and the best offence, and we won the league. So that's a lesson for you there. Games without losing 6. Games without conceding 5. And player overview. Let's have a quick look here. Top goal scorer of the league was Harry Kane. Yeah, 27. And James Vardy as well. Just like in real life, James Vardy can't stop scoring. My God. Yeah, so James Vardy and Harry Kane, top goal scorers in the Premier League with 21. Wayne Rooney was, but he got injured. Yeah, 16 for Memphis Depay. Again, I'll stress, this was as a left midfielder. And he was still Raheem Sterling underneath. He can do one. Least conceded, David De Gea. Okay. Detailed player analysis. Let's have a look. Appearances. Jermaine Defoe played in every single game. Wow. Oh, so did a few other people. Oh, okay. Red cards. Yellow card. John Terry was booked 15 times. Okay. And United. Oh, Wayne Rooney scored 5 out of 5 penalties. Brilliant. 100%. But yeah, so there. That was my first series of, my first season of Football Manager 16. And I really like the game. I think the Sports Interactive's habit of just changing the UI enough every year to make it feel like a new game is still relevant here. The Create a Club is bloody awful. It's just basically a quick way into the database editor. And rather than a snazzy new, pick your club's name, pick your club stadium, pick your club's fancy kit, it was ridiculously bare bones. I hope that's just a beta issue and that is something that will change in the coming patches, etc. The game itself runs very, very well. Now, I do have a new computer, but I think I seem to spend a lot less time waiting for loading screens, even though on this one I'm running England full, Italy, Spain, Germany and France. Hardly any loading times at all, so I'm really happy with that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very pleased with this game so far. I'm really happy that I have this guy here who's a youngster who's basically Paul Scholes. I've got him training from Schweinsteiger at the minute, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And he's 5'8". I think Scholes is a bit smaller than that as well. Yeah, so I'm really happy with the game. I think my year break may have put a sunny disposition on things, but overall, really happy with spending the money on it, getting into the beta and playing the last few days, getting through. It's good to know that I'm still good at this game without really trying. My own background in football definitely does help, but yeah, I'm really happy I have this game. I recommend it to anyone who maybe hasn't even played Football Manager for a while. The UI is just a little bit more user-friendly. Just a little bit more user-friendly. But overall, still the same great game it always was. It's just the latest version with not much changing. Yeah, that was a bit of a weird way to end it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my time. I hope as more people buy the game, I love it. I will answer any questions anyone has. If you leave a comment or follow me on Twitter at IForgotToPlay, I'll pop that into the description. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching this far. It's a very incoherent video. They're usually a lot better quality, but thanks for sticking through this long, and I'll see you next time.